Okay. All right, y'all. We're recording. For those that are working and can't be here today, I'm sitting on the floor because I put together like a hot mess of a vendor kind of show for y'all, so I can kind of go through what I do at a vendor show and just kind of give you some examples. I just want to say first and foremost, this was thrown together in 10 minutes with the space that I have, with the some of the things that I have on hand. It is not perfect, so please don't look at this and go, we have to emulate this. And I normally have double the space when I've done a vendor show, but you may not. So feel free to take some ideas from here, ideas from other people, and do what flows best for you. I'm going to kind of just walk through some of my setup first. And again, this is not my normal setup. Y'all can see I have like a box on the floor. I like put some things together. And the reason for that is this is the first time I've gotten my stuff out since last May when I did this. And here in England, we only we have two vendor shows a year, but I've only been able to do one because it's always during Leaders Retreat, the second one. And so this, I have some things to tweak because May of last year, we had just gotten our new product, but we didn't have it on hand. We actually got it on hand at our at the vendor show. I was able to get it the second day and bring it, and so we were the first ones in England to be able to taste the new pink drink. So that was really exciting. So I normally have like some pyramids of products and things like that, and that are hot glued together, but they were all the old products. So I quickly scrambled around the house to get my newer colors in, but I may not have everything out. So not everything on here is important, but some of it is. And so I'm going to kind of go through for a second. Let me just back up. I've been doing Plexus for 2.5 years. If you are new to Plexus, you're not going to have all of this stuff, and that's okay. When I did my very first vendor show, I had a pink plastic tablecloth. In fact, I have a picture of it on our team page, and I can show it to y'all, but I had a pink plastic tablecloth. I took a vase that I still use to this day, a vase of my own, out of my own home for a drawing. I took a plastic tray that I had, and I wrapped it in paper because I didn't have, it was like farmhouse themed, okay? And I had a couple of things of products and some pink plastic bins that I flipped upside down, and that's what I used for my first vendor show. Okay, so if you don't have all of, and I'm going to show you how you do it on a budget. You don't have to spend a lot of money to do a nice vendor show. It's going to take some time, but it doesn't have to be costly. So what I've done since then, I will show you. And again, oh no, hang on. Adelie, my computer's about to die. Sorry, if I die, I'll come right back, I promise. Never fails. I've never organized enough, okay? All right. So what I've changed is I went on Amazon and I got some black tablecloths. I do iron them before I go. These are just the black tablecloths that they go all the way to the ground. If y'all can see that. They go all the way to the ground. I bought two because the vendor show that I do is very large, and I use two tables side by side. I chose not to get the ones with the Plexus logos on them because you can get those on Etsy and different places. But since I've been with Plexus 2.5 years, we've changed our color scheme and our logo twice. Okay, so for me, cost-effective wise, it made more sense to just get black. Now you can do overlays or different things. Here's what I did. You can do this at Walmart. It's all wrinkly now, so I'll have to get a new one. But we went to our local little print shop, took just the graphic you can get online. We printed out this pretty picture, and we stuck it on the front of our table. Nope, it's the big chunky one, the really big long one. Okay, and so I don't know if these tablecloths cost me more than $20. I don't think they did. Okay, so the next thing I did, we found out about the new color scheme and the new products, I think, days before our vendor show. So this is what I did on a budget, and hopefully, y'all can do the same. So I went to the store, bought dollar frames. Okay, these are just black, cheap frames. Okay, I printed the graphics on. I went and bought photo paper. Okay, printed the graphics from our shareable files onto photo paper from my own printer. Okay, so it's not perfect. I think some of the edges are, y'all can see, like it's like sticking out of the edge, that kind of thing. But this was simple. It was fast. It was cost effective. Okay, so don't think you have to go spend hundreds of dollars to make stuff that looks really nice. Okay, so here's my graphics that I have, and some of them will change, and the frames will change, and things like that, because obviously everything's kind of changed. So I'm gonna go from this side. Okay, so I have a 60-day money-back guarantee sign, which I think is important. You can do it however you want. I took, I think this, I don't even remember how I made that, but I probably just searched it online and found the graphic and blew it up. If you're close up, you can tell it's a little faded, like grainy, because it was a blown up picture, but it's okay. These again were from the shareables. Okay, so this was on Edge. I took this and printed that on a 5x7. I think those are 8x10s. Same thing with Slim. I knew that people would want to know what the new Slim ingredients were, and since I didn't even know them yet because had just come out days before, I wanted to have this. And so many times, one of the biggest things people ask me is what's in it. So I wanted to have something on hand that I could literally just hand them and show them. Okay. The other thing you're gonna see that's big on here is my boxes. Again, I'm frugal. These are free boxes from the post office. They are your, what do you call them? Flat rate boxes. Okay, you can get them for free. You can even go online and have them ship them directly to your doorstep, but they are free. I wrapped them in white paper because I do not know why I could not find any wrapping paper in England. So I ordered white paper, and I went to the craft store and I got rolls of tulle, and all I did was wrap the tulle around it and put a big piece of tape on the back. It's not perfect, but it worked really well for me, and it was a great way to be able to display things without spending a lot of money. Oh, you're the best. Okay, hang on. Let me plug in my computer. Okay. I have people that, tell me all the time, oh, I'm not creative, or I'm not crafty, or whatever. You don't have to be. It can be anything. This is just the way that I did. I have seen lots and lots of different vendor shows and how they've done it different ways. Okay, so I have this sign. This is another one for me that I printed because a lot of people ask me what's the difference between Boost and Accelerator. So this had them side by side and has kind of a description of those. I'm pretty sure these are from Shareables because they have the Plexus thing on them. I do sometimes have product in hand, and we'll go into that. And so I made a little sign like this because I have a lot of people that ask me if I don't have it sitting out. If I have it sitting back behind the table, they ask me like, well, do you have any I can take home? Or a lot of times you'll have people that are already on Plexus and they work with someone else and they just need an extra bag of Slim or a multivitamin. And so they may come and just say, hey, do you have Slim? And I've had that several times. Okay, so let's talk samples. I've had these little, probably from the dollar store, black trays. You can get them in whatever size and whatever shape you want. And I have these are shot glasses. Okay, I ordered them on Amazon. You can get them in all sorts of things, but I believe these are they're 1 ounce. 1 ounce plastic shot glasses. I like them clear. I think there's like rainbow colors and things like that, but I like them clear because I like them to see the color of the pink drink. Here's a quick tip if you're writing things down. With your pink drink, I suggest using the small water bottles and mixing half of a stick in the small water bottles, because what we have found is that after about an hour or so, the flavor of the Slim changes, because obviously it starts to break down, and people tell me it doesn't taste good. And so as it gets warm and things like that, so now that we have a Slim that mixes in cold water, you can keep those water bottles in your cooler. But I do not put out more than 10 at a time, and just refill them. So just have that kind of on hand. I just put out a couple at a time and fill them up. I'm gonna give you a quick tip because I know my mom's sitting on this call and she'll say something. Y'all pay attention to what you're doing. My mom's a germaphobe, if y'all didn't know that. Pay attention to what you're doing when you're pouring drinks and when you are handing people things. Don't hand them a drink like this. Okay? Don't pick it up like this to pour it in. Focus, make sure what you're doing, that you are using good sanitary guidelines, because people are going to notice that. If you hand them a drink like this, there may be somebody that's like, no, I am not going to taste that. And I just have to pick on her for a second. My mom's one of those people that refuses to go to Costco on the Saturdays where they have all the tastings. She will not touch. She calls it communal food, okay? So you're going to have people like that. And so you want to make sure that you are that you're being careful with what you're doing because you may not realize, because you're going to be busy and in a hustle and a bustle, but they are going to notice if you touch the top of their glass. Okay, so keep that in mind. I have these little chalkboard signs. Mel may be able to tell us where it came from. She bought them for me a long time ago. Do you know? I'm sure you can find them at Target in the dollar. Go ahead.
Hobby Lobby, they come in a package. But I've seen them at a lot of places now. So even dollar store, I'd check there first.
Yeah. So, and I think Target, in that little $2 or $1 section. And then I just write on them with a chalkboard marker. And you can do it in any color. I have several different colors now, but I have one that says enter to win. And then I have a couple that say try me. And that's that. The next thing I have on my table is a drawing. Okay, so again, this came from my house. If you don't have a vase, go to the dollar store. This is just a vase. You can use whatever you want to put them in, but this is what I use. And here is, I have actually 2 different drawing sheets. I'm going to show you them. Again, I think there are some things you can spend money on, but for me, there are a lot of things I cut costs in because I just don't think it's necessary. I'd rather spend money on a good vendor show than spend money on expensive things. So I don't use color ink on these because I print out hundreds, and I also did not pay for these. So you can pay for drawing sheets on Etsy, and it's just the printable. It's probably going to cost you a few bucks, but I just did a Google image search and found them. And since they didn't copyright them, I use them. And I have 2 of them, so I'm going to show you what they look like. You can tell one's older and one's kind of newer. And so one of them isn't printed, as nice. And that's what you're going to find, is that you may decide for you, Charlie, get down. You may decide for you that I either want to create my own, or I want to buy one because I want to make sure it's really crisp and clear and people notice those things, and I want it to look professional. If that's you, that's totally okay. I'm just going to show you what I've used. Okay, so here's this one, and if you take a really close look, you can see that it's a little fuzzy, but to me it wasn't a big deal. So it says enter for a chance to win, has the name, phone number, email, and Facebook name. Facebook name is really important, in my opinion. Again, all my opinion. And then it gives you a section that says, do you struggle with brain fog, sugar cravings, cholesterol, lipids, inflammation, headaches, blood sugar, low energy, fatigue, digestive issues, weight issues, or slow metabolism. Underneath that, it says, I'd like to host a Plexus Slim tasting party. I'd like more information on Plexus products, or I'd like ambassador info. Okay, that's that one. This one is a little cuter, has the Plexus logo on it. Y'all can see this. Okay. Again, same thing. I believe it says exactly the same thing. It does. So, but you can, I like just search this. I print them out in sheets of 4. I took them like this. I saved the photo. It was just a single one. I saved the photo. I went to a Word document and I put the photo on the piece of paper 4 times. Okay. And then I went just cut up and across on the paper and put them together in binder clip and stuck them in here. Actually, I have a third one. I have another one that looks like this. So y'all will be able to find, there's lots of different kinds, and every time I do a vendor show, I print more because I go through a lot of them. Don't be afraid to print a lot. It's okay to have extras. Don't be short. Y'all can pop in and ask any questions. Please feel free. Okay, so with these cards, what I am going to suggest is that if you have the time, now every vendor show is different. The one that I have done here in England is very large. It's a 3-day vendor show. And so I have had up to 5 people do it with me from my team. This year I'm really nervous because I'm the only one left that hasn't moved and I will be all by myself. So if I don't sign a few people here in the area before that. So I suggest having an opportunity when you do when you see them filling it out, go stand next to them, talk to them. And before they put it in, here's what we did. Before you put it in the jar, if you were working with that person directly, we wrote our name on the back. So you can do that 2 ways. If you have multiple people working your vendor show, you can either split the contacts 50-50, or when you're working with them directly, put your name on the back. Because when people have a rapport with you and you notice that you're connecting with them, they're gonna expect you to be the one that calls them back, right? So that's kind of how we did it. To keep from fighting over them, we just kind of rotated people that were out and really being there. If I knew that I had just talked to 2 people and gotten 2 names, I kind of stood in the background a little bit, or I helped somebody else talk to people while they and then said, here, write your name on this, and or I would bring somebody else into the conversation. So write your name on the back. The other thing is, when I'm talking with them, I look through what they're checking off, and then I ask them some questions. So if I see that they say select weight issues, I will ask them, like, why do you think you struggle with your weight? And we get into a conversation. And as they tell me things, I jot down notes on the back. Okay, maybe they binge eat. Maybe they have sugar cravings. Maybe they overeat. Maybe they don't like to exercise. Maybe they have an injury, something like that. And so, or something else might come up. Maybe they'll go to the bathroom, and we know that that's in here as digestive issues and stuff, but you still kind of want to break it down and figure out exactly what it is. So I write it down on the back. And the reason I do that is I go straight home, and within 24 hours, I find them on Facebook. Another thing you can do is ask them right then and there if they have a Facebook, and add them to your Facebook. Just say, hey, I'm going to add you, and we'll follow up, tomorrow or whatever. But add them to your Facebook, because I feel like that's the best way to have a contact, because they're going to see my Facebook posts over and over again. Even if they tell me they don't want Plexus, if they keep me as a friend, they're going to see that. Even if they don't add you as a friend, you can still message with them, and you're going to be able to see when they read that message. And I think that's important. Sometimes it doesn't feel good when they read it and don't respond, but it's still there. But this gives me a memory jogger. So I immediately get on a voice message on my Facebook and I say, hey, Sarah, it was so nice to meet you yesterday. I'm Ansley. We met at the Plexus event, and I just wanted to check in with you and see if you had a chance to read over the information I gave you. I know that you told me you struggled with weight loss and sugar cravings, and we talked a little bit yesterday about how I thought the triplex was the right direction for you. Are you ready to get started? Or can we talk a little bit later today? However you want to put it. But I put it on a voice message. Maybe it's I wanted to find out if you had any more questions, or if you had a chance to look at the website, any of those things. It gives you a memory jogger. And here's why I think that's important. I think it sets you apart. I think that there's going to be a lot of people that contact them that they've gone to their table and filled out their slip, because most people don't fill out a slip at a vendor show because they really want more information. They fill it out because they want to win something, right? So this is going to kind of weed those people out, and it's going to give you an opportunity to stand apart from the other vendors by saying something personal, and to them, they don't probably realize that you wrote things down. They're going to go, oh my gosh, she remembered me. She remembered exactly what we talked about, and it gives you an opportunity to really have a one-on-one connection with that person. Yeah. So another thing that I have done at a vendor show is to take my laptop. I've set up my laptop with my Facebook. Hi, Nancy. I have set up my laptop before with my Facebook open, and told them that if they added me to Facebook, add me as a friend on Facebook, today they get a second entry into the drawing, or they got an entry into a separate drawing or something like that. And that got me a lot of contacts right away, which was nice. And then when you are going through your slips, you'll be able to see like who's added you and who hasn't. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else on those sheets. Any questions so far? I know I'm saying a lot, so I want to slow down. Any questions so far? No, nothing. Okay. If you hear one thing today, one thing, 100% of the time, the most important thing that you are going to do at a vendor show is stand in front of your table. Do not ever, and I don't care. Somebody's gonna say, no, I'm busy right now, baby. I'll come and talk to you in a minute. Somebody's going to say that I'm bossy. I don't care. I'm going to tell you, do not ever, ever, ever sit behind your table. Okay? And here's why. You cannot connect with people. And I'm just going to show you something. Okay? I'll put this back over here. Leave that there, please.
Hi, Nana.
Hey, Ellie, stand right here. Pretend like you're looking at my table. Okay? Y'all, if I'm standing back here, do you see how far away contact I am? I'm almost having to shout. Hi, Eliana. Having to shout at her to talk to her about Plexus. It's very disconnected. Here's what happens if I'm on the front. First of all, I have an opportunity to hold my samples if I want to. Eliana, come walk through this way. Come here. Oh my gosh, I love your blue sweater. It's so cute. I want to show you kind of what I did. Come here, come back over here. I love your blue sweater. It's so cute. I have an opportunity to reach out and talk to this person that's standing right here without offering them Plexus, okay? Because some people are going to be intimidated by your booth in general, or they think it's weight loss or something like that. You have an opportunity to just connect and be kind to somebody. Okay, you guys can go now. Thank you. Thank you, helpers. You have an opportunity to reach out and be kind to somebody, or start a conversation with them without talking about Plexus, and that gets them to come a little closer to your table, because they're going to be walking past, right? Hopefully you're not at a vendor show where you have 5 or 6 people in an hour. You're going to have, 10, 20, 30 people every, 5 minutes walking past you. So, sorry, I know this is kind of awkward. So if you're able to just kind of stand in the front, I don't stand in the front, I stand to the side. But if you're standing here, you're able to have a conversation with people that walk past, and it will draw them to your table. So, oh my gosh, your sweater is so cute. Where did you get that? Or, oh my girl, those shoes, or whatever you want to say. Hang on a second, baby. And then when they start answering, say like, and you can say like, hey, have you ever tried Plexus? Or have you ever tasted our pink drink? What's a pink drink? And then you have an opportunity to offer them a sample at that point. What can I do for you?
I'm missing. I want water.
Go upstairs and do it. I'm busy. Okay, so the next thing. So that's the most important thing, is stand in front of your table. Something that I didn't mention about my setup was, don't forget a trash can. I can't tell you how many times I forgot a trash can. I have a thing of little trash bags in here because people dump liquid. So again, you can get this at the dollar store. And then you can just take the trash out in between. What's really nice about having a long tablecloth is that you can stick them underneath the tablecloth until you have time at the end to break down and throw things away. Okay, any questions so far?
So no questions, but I just wanted, while you're still on that topic of being kind of, not behind the table and not sitting down or whatever, I'd be very mindful too of closed-ended questions. The trainer in me would tell you, don't say, have you ever tried Plexus? No. They walk by, or yes, thank you. So, hey, I'd love to share my pink drink with you. Or I'd love to tell you about Plexus, or, something like that. Because if you say, have you got a minute or anything like that, they can shut you down. So I was going to say,
you're absolutely right. And I am not good at being on the spot. For some reason, when I do Plexus, when I do an event, I don't seem to have an issue. But I think, trying to figure out how to talk about it sometimes be hard. I think because I am very passionate, and you guys are too, very passionate about Plexus. I love Plexus. I know exactly what it does for me. No, you've already had enough steps. Thank you. Sorry, y'all. But it has, so when I'm just having a conversation, it comes off very naturally. But when I'm having to get up here in front of y'all, it's a little more like, it's a little more.
No, I don't mean it that way. It's just that it's very typical of us to everything. So even, hey, you look super healthy. What supplements do you use? Not, do you use supplements?
Right.
That then to start talking, or what vitamin do you take? But the other thing I was thinking about your illustration with Eliana, when you just called attention to her blue sweater and she stopped to talk to you. Of course, Adelie, her friend that's shopping with her at the event, comes over too. So now you have, now you have an audience of 2 instead of an audience of 1. So that was,
yes. Okay, we talked about pink drink samples. Here's another sample. I started this last time, and I would suggest it because we have a lot of kids. We have a lot of kids that want to try the pink drink, and their parents immediately say, oh no, that's for adults. Number one, I usually have a conversation with them and tell them, actually, it's safe. It's fine. We talk about what's in it and that kind of thing. However, we have a really, really amazing children's multivitamin. If you have kids and you already have one, or if you can, open a bottle. Here's what I do. Open a bottle. I take like 2 or 3 out. I cut it up into little pieces. If you have gloves, use gloves. Cut it up into little pieces, and I put it on a small tray or a paper plate or something like that, because kids love to try something, and when their parents are trying something, they actually really like that their kids have an opportunity to try something. And I will tell you, the biggest thing I hear about children's multivitamins is that their kids are picky, and so they have an opportunity right then and there to know if their kids like the flavor or not. Just a suggestion. Let's see, what's next? Okay, so how about how to find a vendor show? There are lots of ways to do that. If you are a part of a community page, you're probably going to see those pop up. I'm going to just share my screen. This is a secret, y'all. Not really. Okay, so if you go to Facebook, I just found this because I was like, hey, I'm going to start looking around while I'm in Texas to do some events. Wherever you're located, Now, Annalisa, don't go stealing all my vendor shows. I'm just kidding. But I typed in, Round Rock vendor. Okay, so when I did that, there were several, so type in your area, there were several things that popped up. Okay, so this is Austin Vendor Blender, Vendor Love, Art House Events vendor page, October Vendor Fair. Like, you're gonna go through these things and go, okay, Round Rock Home Sellers Network, Mother's Day vendor event, things like that, where you can kind of go through vendors wanted for Fredericksburg and Hill Country. And so here's another one, Austin area vendors and small business networking. So you can go through and click join on those. Well, obviously, let's just look at one. Here's the Austin area vendors and small business networking. Click on it. There's a small amount of people, which is good. There's 65 members. You don't probably really want to be in a group where there's thousands of people, because it's going to be hard to get into those vendor shows. I would suggest, like right now, I'm booked for a vendor show in May, end of May. It's already completely booked. Okay, so don't wait until the month of to look for one. If you go, okay, I want to do one this summer, I want to do one for 4th of July, you need to be looking now. There will be some that pop up closer to, but most of them are filling their spots right now. Okay, so I can't see anything in this group because I'm not a part of it. So let me go to one that I am a part of. And I will tell you, I just said, I was just teasing Annalisa, but I would just say, y'all, if you have people in your area that are on your team or within your sidelines or whatever, don't be afraid to ask if they want to do it with you. Number one, you can cut costs. So I've split, a vendor show several ways with people, but it also gives you more ground, especially if you know it's a well-to-do place. If you're not sure, or if you haven't seen it before and you don't think you're going to get a lot of people, probably not a good idea to share it with a bunch of people. But girls, turn it down, please. Turn it down, please. Yes, you can hear it. I'll be done in just a few minutes, sorry. Don't be afraid to share, because for every one person you talk to, 5 others are walking past. Okay, so if you have a downline, I would highly suggest grabbing them up. It gives you an opportunity for them to learn and grow and watch you, but it also gives you an opportunity to reach more people at one time. Okay. Okay, so here is this is one called Austin Vendor Blender Events, and here's one right here, Annalisa and Mel, 2 spots for the May 5th event, looking for health and wellness, not essential oils. Example, Plexus, It Works, Arbonne, etc. Please comment below by 8 p.m. on Wednesday, March 14th, if interested. The cost is $60. So, again, if you guys are into it, split it. Then it's $30 each, and setup is at 10. Event is from 11 to 3. If you're not Health and Wellness type company, please do not comment. There is nobody on here, okay? Oh, no, there is. I'm sorry. Let me read it and see what they said. Let me see if there's... Okay, it doesn't look like the spots are filled. So
there's an It Works, but that's about it.
Yeah, so you may, like I said, comment, say, hey, I want to fill the spot. But it gives you an opportunity. Please remember, vendor shows are they are tax deductible. So everything you purchase for a vendor show is tax deductible. Okay. So please keep your receipts for everything, down to the bottled water that you use and the food that you eat while you're there, okay? So if you're having lunch, you're taking a break, somebody else is manning your booth, and you go buy something from the vendor show, cafeteria or whatever they have set up, save your receipt. It's 50% deductible. Okay. Okay. Again, so if you go through, it is all these different vendor shows. There's tons and tons of them. Okay. So it's a great way to do that. All right. Okay. So my point in that was search your city, search your area, and see if there are anything in the near future. If you have friends that have kids in elementary schools, reach out to them. Reach out on your Facebook and say, hey, I'm looking for a vendor event. If anybody, knows of a school doing a craft fair or a 4th of July event or, any of those things, would you please let me know? Especially if you don't have kids or have kids in school, because they happen all the time. We have one every year here that's Valentine's. And so, I ended up not going back to it because it wasn't a big thing, but it might be. So if you have those in your area, you might want to ask some people. Churches, trying to think what else. But anyways, especially around major holidays like 4th of July, Memorial Day, there is probably one on every corner. And when the sun is out, people are out. Sometimes they're indoors, sometimes they're outdoors. Farmers markets, sometimes you have an opportunity to do them there. Lots of different opportunities. Any questions on how to find one? Just keep your feelers out there. Keep look in your newspapers, look on your Facebook walls, and don't be afraid to ask. It's okay to put on your Facebook, hey, I'm looking to do an event. Does anybody know of one? Go ahead, Mel.
Oh, I was just going to say about that Nextdoor app, or if y'all have it or not. It's in most communities. I find so many things. In fact, I found a part-time job on there. I work for a private investigator, and it's a really cool job. But the other thing is that I saw someone saying that there was a local chiropractor that was having a sip and shop event, and so they wanted vendors, and so I reached out, and so. Anyway, so I got in, and it's a really lovely female chiropractor, and and I even asked her, do you promote any supplements in your business? And she gave me the name of a couple that I'm going to research, but it was free, so I was really fortunate, and I'm really excited. I'm nervous, but anyway, it was just on that Nextdoor app, a Nextdoor app. So if y'all have that, I find a lot of good stuff on there.
So I would definitely start small. Don't go and spend $200 on a vendor event, because the reality is you're probably not going to get a bunch of sales and contacts right away. You've got to practice. You need to see what the events are like in your area. And if you go spend a big amount of money, then and you don't get a return, you as a small business owner, when you're first starting out, can be kind of discouraging. So go get your feelers wet. The one here is expensive, but it's the only one here, and so it's imperative that I do it. So I just suck it up because it's thousands of people that walk through the door. The very first vendor event that I didn't sign anybody, and I didn't sell anything. The second and the third, I think I've done 3 now. Nope, I think just the second time I did this big event, I was a little bit more bold. We would have conversations. I would get their contact information, and then I would say, all right, well, are you ready to sign up today? And they said yes. And I was like, okay. So if I had my laptop, we got right there on the laptop. If I didn't, I got my cell phone out and I signed them up right then and there. Don't be afraid to ask them. The worst they can say is no. Okay. And I also, like I said, I started doing baskets. When we got our new Slim, I actually got it in on the second day of our vendor show. I put all of the trials that came in that big box, whatever it was called, in a pink basket on my table, and I sold out of those within 30 minutes. So 7-day trials are great things to have, because then you can immediately, you have their contact information, you follow up with them. After the 7 days, you hopefully are going to sign them up as a customer or an ambassador. So I would definitely suggest, at least if you're not going to have, triplexes, make sure you have some 3-day or 7-day trials. That's what I give away too. And y'all, I don't know why, but people don't care. I mean, I do one drawing for my 3 days. They don't care. They think they're going to win something. So just do it. Just have a drawing, because you're able to get all those contacts. Don't hesitate to follow up with those contacts. You need to be following up with them within 48 hours. Okay. Don't stop following up. Okay. I have contacts from my vendor shows that I keep in a file box upstairs, and I pull them out every couple of months, and I go back and try to find them on Facebook. If I don't find somebody on Facebook, then I look at the next things they have. I either send them an email, or I get on the phone and pick up the phone and call. Probably not going to get on the phone 2 years later and call them, because it would be kind of like a cold reach out, and I think it's kind of awkward. But I would probably send them an email and just say, hey, I know we talked in the past. My cat's knocking things over. And give them a reach out that way. Let's talk about appearance for a second. Please, 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 if you're going to a vendor show, wear a Plexus shirt or dress. If you're brand new and you don't have a Plexus shirt, dress professionally. Please don't come in a camisole or something. Believe it or not, I see it every time I go to the vendor show, that people are, dressed unprofessionally. You have to remember, you're always recruiting, and you want to attract people to your table. Fix your hair. Doesn't have to be fancy, but just do it a little bit more than maybe you would normally, and put some makeup on if you wear makeup. If you don't wear makeup, maybe a little lip gloss and mascara, just to be appealing, and and just be conscious about what you're doing. Again, we are a brand. So another tip, when you're having your lunch, think about what you're going out to purchase. If you're sitting behind the table eating a bucket of cheese fries at your vendor event where you're selling health and wellness supplements, it may not look attractive, okay? I'm trying really hard not to be ugly with that, but y'all, you gotta think, because you are your brand, right? Okay, ask me some questions of other things, topics you can think of, because I'm drawing a blank. I didn't write anything down. I have this sign. This is our income disclosure. Okay, and I do try to talk to people about, especially if they say they can't afford it. We talk about that. You can also do something like this. This was my discount for Slim, because I had like 9 bags of original Slim, and we had just found out that it was switching. But you can do something else. You could do 10% off. You could do buy a triplex, get a free product, something like that. If you have anything on hand, you have the opportunity to do that. So you can put something together with that. This is old, and what I did this last time around was I actually took my iPad, and I went on, and I had Wi-Fi where I was going, not always do you, and I turned on the lookbook from Plexus, so that people could scroll through the lookbook pictures on the iPad. This was the old school version, which was my very first one. I printed out all these pictures with their testimonies, and did it this way. But it was nice, because there will be people that say, like, oh, do you have anything, does it help with eczema, or does it help with blood pressure? And I'm able to kind of flip through this and go, oh yeah, here's one right here. Here's one on blood pressure, and give them, kind of real people. I make sure that I have a price sheet available, so that I can jogs my memory, because I do not remember all the prices all the time. What else? And then I have in here, in this binder as well, I have the products and the not testimonies, the trials, the clinical trials, sorry. So that if anybody has any questions, because you will have some people that are crunchy that want to know exactly what's in it. These are those fact sheets that tell you exactly, you know, is there caffeine or other stimulants in Plexus Slim? And it gives you all of those little details for people that really want to know what it is. And so I also have this one called The Safety of Plexus Slim. I believe it's in the files on my team page. And it talks about Plexus Slim and breastfeeding. And it's a really good one because I have a lot of people, because we're military, I'm sure but we tend to have a younger crowd and most of them have little tiny babies. And so I get that question a lot. Let's see what else I have in here. Now that one's based on the old one, so I'll probably have to look up a new one. Okay, so what other questions? What can y'all think of? I'll show you that if I know a couple of you jumped on late, I'll show you kind of, this is not what I always do. I just kind of threw this together, Nancy, so you can kind of see it's everything here. This table couldn't have cost me more than, I don't think it cost me $50. It's free boxes, paper, tool, dollar frames, ink, and paper, y'all. That's it. So it doesn't have to be expensive to have a pretty setup.
Yeah, same. I got everything from the dollar store, including this sign, which was really good for people to kind of catch their eye and be like, it's not just about weight loss. And then I actually had a couple men stop by because they noticed this and wanted to know if it could help with like anxiety and nerve pain. So having something like this that's like, hey, we're not just a quick fix, was really helpful.
And I will say my secret weapon is my husband. Y'all, I'm sure you experienced that with Austin being there a little bit, but if y'all have a husband that loves Plexus or a gentleman ambassador, y'all, men flock when they see men. They don't want to talk to the women. They want to know what my husband has to say. So it's definitely a secret weapon. If you have the availability to have them even for an hour, you will see a difference. Nancy, do you want to share any more of your experience? You just did a vendor show. I'd love to hear some about it. And then, Annalisa, I'm going to bug you because I know you've done a couple.
Yeah, I would say just go in, say hello to every single person that walks by, even if they ignore you, you know, because one video I watch is that other people are watching you. So if someone totally ignores you and you're like, ugh, you know, like other vendor people are watching you. And then I did like a 3 trial giveaway. So I just got people to add me on Facebook and their name and number, but I wish that I would have made little notes because a lot of people asked me about certain things or had things that they were dealing with, and I couldn't at the end I had 12 contacts and I couldn't remember. So I would make a little note of things that people are asking you about. That way you remember what, because then you just have a bunch of contacts but you don't remember exactly what their concerns or health issues were. So I would make little notes of that.
You brought up you reminded me, I was at a vendor show with some teammates one time and had a girl that walked up and kind of snugged what we were doing. She was like, she kind of like did this, you know, kind of like looked at what we were doing from afar. And I was like, hey, how are you? Have you ever tried Plexus? I was like, come over here. And she's like, I think I already do something like that. I was like, oh, really? And most people at that point would be like, oh, okay, and just let her go. And I've gotten to the point where I'm bold enough now that I'm just like, oh, really? What are you doing? And she's like, oh, I do Beachbody. And I said, oh, okay. I said, well, actually, Beachbody is completely different from Plexus. I know a lot of people think it's similar, but it's not. You know, you do like, you know, workout videos and shakes, right? And she's like, yeah. I said, well, we actually focus on gut health. And I started talking to her a little bit about that. And she started coming closer and closer. And I was like, have you ever tried it? She's like, no. I was like, here, try it. She's like, what's in it? You know, and so then I told her a little bit about it. And within 30 seconds, she started telling me that she was, I forget what it's called when you're like super tired all the time. And she had digestive issues. She wasn't going to the bathroom, all of these different things. And I was like, oh, because I told her, I said, girl, I said, don't worry, I'm not gonna ask you to sell it. Like, that's how I got her to come over. I was like, don't worry, I'm not gonna ask you to sell it. I just want to talk to you about it. And so she came over. Within the end of that 5-minute conversation, she signed up on my phone as an ambassador. She said, I said, well, do you want to sign up as a customer or an ambassador? And she's like, well, how do I save the most money? I said, well, as an ambassador. She said, okay, sign me up. And she's still an ambassador on our team. Okay. So,
it's being bold and like really kind of grabbing them, because some people are too shy. And like, there was a couple, like a girl that I knew because we're Facebook friends, but you could tell she was kind of avoiding my booth, but would come back around, and she was kind of nervous and I was kind of nervous, but I wish that I would have been like, hey, like I could have definitely brought her in, but we were both just a little bit nervous. So yeah, definitely being bold and getting the shy people that want to come around, but don't really, is just being really nice to everyone.
If you have more than one person, have one person take one of your trays of Slim and walk around the vendor event. Look at some of the other vendor tables, offer a sample to them, because a lot of times they want to come over, but they're so busy they can't, so that's another, tip, just, to do that. Or talk, if you don't have your samples, talk to people like, oh, I'm over at the Plexus table. And they may say like, oh, I wanted to come over and try this. Don't worry, I'll bring you a sample, and be able to do that with them. And maybe even have a couple of those, like Mel said last week, have some of those little drawstring bags or whatever with, some individual samples so that you can drop them off at the vendor tables, and give them an opportunity to try it. I keep my body cream and my ease cream kind of behind the table. And as people, now I do have the bottles. So if people want to try them, they can try them this way. But if people start to talk to me about a skin issue or growing pains or, discomfort, then I get those out and give them a couple of those. But I didn't want to throw them all over the table and have people just take them and never use them. So I kind of save those because they're not cheap for certain people. What else? Annalisa, any tips, any thoughts?
Sure. For me, keeping it simple is a big deal. I have anxiety about these things and I get anxious. So I have to just remind myself, one thing, I'm not trying to sell something I don't believe in. I believe this really can help a lot of people. So I have to remember that going in, and that I'm making contacts. Like you said, you may sign someone up, but you may not. But I still have Facebook friends, and we still talk about Plexus from someone I met a year and a half ago. So I'm really, not just trying to sign someone up that day, because even after you sign them up, you have to continue to maintain relationships also. But taking notes is definitely helpful, and just saying this person mentioned their son has this issue, or even like family members who have certain things. And then of course, following up is huge, because if you don't strike while that iron is hot and they remember what you were talking about, you're not drinking coffee anymore or whatever it is, a week and a half later, they've moved on. Mm-hmm. So, and then, like I said, instead of saying, this is just in general, instead of saying I'm nervous about things, I've started saying I'm excited about them, because that still includes nerves, but it's putting it in a more positive sense, because I am. And I joined because of a vendor event. It was strategic, and I was putting on the event, and they kind of knew that I would be interested. But the reason I did join is because they were excited. They could not stop talking about it. They were like on and on and on, Megan and her upline. So it was just, you cannot be timid. You cannot say, it's okay. I mean, do you want to try it? Like, maybe. You don't want to follow people who are sort of maybe doing stuff. You want to follow people who are like, this works. It's amazing. You should try it. And the other thing that stood out to me about it is nobody said to me, oh, it's really easy. You can eat whatever you want. You don't have to exercise. They were like, you have to watch what you eat still. You'll just feel better and you'll have more energy, or, talking about gut health appealed to me because my stomach is so irritated, but it was real and they weren't setting my expectations unrealistically right off the bat. So
I would
that's my
definitely
tip.
say be very honest. You're absolutely right. Y'all, if somebody says, oh, I just want to lose 30 pounds, I tell them this may not be right for you. If they're not ready to make some changes, then I'm honest with them. I do always tell them they have a 60-day money-back guarantee, but I never, ever, ever, ever tell somebody that they should only take our products for 30 days. So make sure if somebody wants to buy a triplex off of you right then and there, I try to sign them up and give them and say, like, we can swap products or, you know, something like that. Well, for me, they're here in England. It takes a lot longer to get here, but for y'all, they're going to get it in 3 days. So you can tell them, like, yeah, I have it here, but if you want to sign up and have it shipped directly to your door, it's only going to take 3 days. You know, you have that opportunity. But always, if they're going to take something from you, make sure that they know that they really should have this more than 1 month. So you're going to contact them. And I agree. And that's the other thing about having multiple people. Seeing that you're not by yourself, you're actually growing a team and you're having fun is important. You know, if you're not saying that you can't do a vendor show by yourself, you can absolutely do one. But if you do have a team and you get the opportunity to include them, people are going to see that you're growing. My mom and I were just talking about this earlier. I have enough stuff now that I can do 2 tables. And I just said, honest to goodness, I can do it on 1 table, but having 2 tables and people seeing that year after year, my set grows, it shows that I'm successful at what I do. And I think Annalisa was going to say something else. Were you going to say something else? Oh, I saw you like go to your thing. I do have, I'm going to show you this because I just want to show you. I know we're getting close to time. I didn't put this out because I wanted you to see that you can do a vendor show without spending any money. But after doing them for a year, I decided that I was going to invest in 1 piece every year. And so my very first one was off of Etsy. And this is a Plexus pop-up stand. Now, I'm going to give you a tip. I ordered this with product on the bottom of it. I would suggest not doing that. They change way too often. However, all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut along this line, and I'm going to swap this up to the top. So I didn't lose out on it. It's going to be a little shorter, but that's okay. Hang on. Showing them this. I did it in red because I didn't want it in hot pink, and I don't like my table to be in hot pink because I want to attract men. You can hold that? Okay. So here's what it looks like. I'm not going to set it all up because it takes too long. Can y'all see that? So it says, what if this could change everything? This was back then when we had a different logo and where it was required to say independent ambassador. Okay. It says, what if this could change everything? And it says, helps maintain healthy blood sugars, blood pressure, cholesterol, lipids, oxygenates the entire body, balance the intestinal tract, helps energize the body, safe and effective weight control, supports collagen production, and temporary relief of discomfort, with our disclaimer on it. These all came directly from the bottles, so they are compliant. Anyways, I just wanted to show it to you. This cost me about $100, and they do have them on Plexus print now for $100. They're not this exact one. But you can probably have them made if you have a print shop for cheaper. I didn't. I just needed to get it done. But you can also have things made on paper. Y'all do not have to. This cost me, and it's wrinkled because it's a one-time use thing. Okay, you hold it up. This cost me like $6 or $7, okay? And we just told them exactly what we wanted to say. I brought them this, okay, you gotta hold it this side though. I brought them this graphic, and it didn't cost me much. They just printed it. It's on paper, and we hung this on another thing. That's the next. I'm gonna stop talking, y'all, because I'm going way over. But I am purchasing for this year. A friend of mine gave me one last year, but she's moved or moving. If you go on Amazon for $30, you can purchase a photo backdrop stand. Okay, so it's like 2 tripods with poles, and you can put curtains on it. We used 2 black curtains and a red curtain in the middle. It stood up 8 foot tall by 10, and there is a picture of it on my, actually I can show you. Let's see. This is why I was in Mel's thing. And it basically was a divider, and I loved it, and I'm actually gonna order 2 of them because it gave me an opportunity to kind of block out some of the noise that you have when you have lots and lots of vendors. Okay, so can y'all see that? So I'm gonna get 2 this year because I have 2 tables here, and so I want one from one side to the other, but we just put it in the middle. And this is where you can see where I hung my sign. And this is what my setup looked like last May. Now, I will say I will make it a little simpler this year. It looks a little cluttered to me now, kind of looking back at it. You can see here I had business cards on the table. I had brochures. We had 4 or 5 people, so we all had different business cards and brochures. I won't have that this year, so be able to kind of take that back a little bit. You can see like right here and right here, I had actual product on the table. And although I had never done it before and I was nervous about it, people bought it because it was sitting out. So usually I kept it behind, but all I did was I just put like 1 of everything in the basket. And then when somebody bought it, I replaced it. So if you to right now trying to get some extra PV for convention credits, this is a good opportunity to take a couple, to purchase some 7-day trial packs, or, you know, one or 2 extra triplex. The things that sell for me are accelerator, block, triplex, extra bags of slim. So a lot of people that just want the slim, they already on plexus and they just need some extra. And I do think I sold a multivitamin. So that's what I have for today. I'm sure I'm going to come up with a whole other slew of things, but there is right here one of the products that we do not almost ever talk about that I think is really important. I've never sold one. I would love to sell more. This is the breast check kit. You take a paper plate or a nice plate, if you don't want to use paper plate, and put some salt or some sugar on it, and you take the breast kit out and lay it down. It gives people an opportunity to feel how it magnifies it. And, you know, I do think at some point I'm going to sell some of those because there are a lot of people that do those, or that use them, and you should. But it's a good way to kind of, for me, it gave a topic of being able to tell them that we started as a breast health company, and people were really surprised by that. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Any other thoughts? We can do another one of these sometime. Go ahead.
I just want to say, don't worry about whether you have the right things to put out or the right thing. You are your best asset at a vendor event, and your belief in the products will just continue to grow as you do them. Every time I have a vendor event, I'm like, I really do love plexus. It just reminds me how far, I've come and why I do it. So.
Yeah, I started my very first one. I reached out to Rhonda. I had only been doing plexus for about a month, and said I wanted to do this. And she sent me, and if y'all ever you have a newbie, I save every bottle of product that I have. Okay, these are all empty products. I did not go out and buy a ton of product to have on my shelf. But Rhonda sent me a box of empty bottles. What a great gift that you can give to a brand new ambassador that needs some extra things. Okay, so even if you're not saving them for yourself, save them in thoughts of maybe somebody's going to need them. What?
I have recycled so many of those, and I'm like, duh, save them and let them.
But anyways, and then like I said, last time you can see in my picture, I took bottles and I made pyramids out of them. We did fun things with them instead of just having one product on the table. You don't need to, I know Susanna is going to watch this, and she's going to say that she's afraid to talk because she's afraid people are going to ask you questions that you don't know the answer to. Here's what you say. I learned this from Amy, can't think of her last name. She says, that's a really great question. I have tons of information at home on that. If you give me your email, or they're filling out a contact information sheet, I will send that to you later tonight or by tomorrow. Even if you have no clue what she's talking about, you're going to write it down. You're going to go find out from your upline or your sidelines, and you're going to be able to give her that information. It's okay to not have the answers to everything. And it's okay to just say, like I said, I actually have a lot of stuff on that at home, Okay, thank you. So don't be afraid to not know every answer, okay? People are going to understand. If you say, hey, I'm brand new, people are going to understand. Nobody's going to expect you to know everything about every product. They don't when they go buy it from Walmart, right? So, okay, y'all, if you don't have any other questions, then I will stop the recording.